Dream Hills is a game that reminds me just how difficult it is for game developers and designers to start in a cutthroat dog-eat-dog industry such as games development. Qualifications don't guarantee work, especially when the industry always expects experience and at the very least a full portfolio to showcase your talent. So what do you do when nobody will give you that chance? Well, you create it yourself, and that's exactly what the 8-man student development team behind Dream Hills did. After my initial playthrough of the game, I wanted to know more about the development team and their process. I wanted to know how long development took, how experienced they were, and ultimately what they were doing now. Unfortunately, as my Spanish is far from fluent, there was little information about the Barcelona-based team available. What I did find was that they were indeed all working on other projects with other developers. Hard work, it seems, pays off. Dream Hills is cute, whimsical, and even downright silly at times, but it holds a certain charm to it as well. You play as Timmy, a young boy set upon by the neighbourhood bullies who rip the ear off his toy bear, and he wants it back. The game can be finished in roughly 30 minutes, and completing it unlocks a sandbox mode for you to explore and do anything you may have missed on your initial playthrough. The voice acting is over the top in its style, creating quirky and eccentric bullies who act as quest givers that progress the story. Think Bully, but on a kindergarten level. Combat is surprising in its attempt at depth. You use a slingshot to attack and have unlimited use of the basic ammunition, but you can collect the random childhood paraphernalia scattered around the town and craft other ammo from this. Toy soldiers, building blocks and glue lie strewn throughout the town of Dream Hills, and whilst the recipes don't really make sense, e.g. glue and toy soldiers make crayons, it is nice to see the crafting system, and it's this attempt to add the complexity that I applaud. Unfortunately, there is no real need to use anything but the basic ammo, save for one exception, and I can't help but feel that a bit of attention to the crafting system and a rebalancing of the ammo would make for a more fulfilling experience. Some of the objects in the world are interactable with a slingshot as well. A well-aimed shot can explode a fire hydrant or make a lawnmower hurtle towards an enemy and take them out. However, the random placement of enemies and the way they react to seeing Timmy means you need the patience and timing of a god to ensure that some of these actually work to your advantage. Again, it's just something that I feel was added and thought of as a feature, but wasn't quite fleshed out and padded out and developed enough to make it into a fully fledged feature on its own right. You are free to use the mouse and keyboard or a controller to play the game, but I found mouse and keyboard to be much easier to use. In one particular minigame with an RC car, I was forced to switch back to mouse and keyboard to actually stand a chance of completing it before I became too frustrated to continue. The game as it stands is a good demonstration of the developer's ideas and creativity. The game isn't full of bugs, and through my 3 playthroughs of the game I found nothing game-breaking. The systems that the game uses are great as foundations and give you a sense of where the developers are going, but they just need a bit of love and attention or a bit of TLC. My experience with the game wasn't unpleasant, and considering the game is free of charge, I would happily say that it is worth a download if you find yourself bored. Whilst the game didn't quite hit the mark for me, I am glad the developers took the time to gain the experience from this project, and I am pleased they all seem to have moved on to bigger and better things, and I really look forward to seeing how far they have progressed in the future. At the end of the day, they could have done a lot worse with this. They could have ripped assets from other games or bought stock assets and used those and copied and pasted them, and at least it's nice to see the fact that they inserted a little bit of their soul into creating the game. Overall, I'd give the game a 6 out of 10. It's a nice attempt, and as their first game it shows promise that the developers can hone their skills and produce excellent work in the future. However, at this moment in time, the game is a little too rough around the edges, and the score that I've given it is buoyed by the fact that it is free to play and download. It's a nice little time waster, but nothing of great substance, and unfortunately has no replayability. I don't know how long the developers had to create the game, whether it was time-based, but I get the sense that once it was done, that was it. There was no going back and polishing it and patching it and working on it to really give it the love and attention it needed to become a nice little game. I'm very glad that they didn't charge for it, and I'm glad that it's out there for people to see. I mean, a lot of hard work went into the game, and I don't want to detract from that at all. The developers really did have to put a lot of work and effort into this to get it to the standard it's at. Unfortunately for me, that's just a little bit too below where I'd expect a game to be at for me to give it a decent score. Anyway, I feel like I've digressed enough there, and I've gone into this for more than I really wanted to. So thank you very much for watching this. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Bye bye.